Good evening, viewers. Welcome again to Hellenic TV. I'm James Neophytou. Welcome to Table for Two. I'm here with Alexios Gennaris, and this time we have a field trip special because Alex has just come back from Sierra Leone. So we've been talking about Sierra Leone for months now. Alex, you went there.
I did, yes.
So this episode, we'd love to hear the nuts and bolts, the details.
Okay.
Tell us the length of your stay and when you went and everything.
I will. There's a lot to go through. In the 15 days, I was making points, bullet points. I listed 24 bullet points in those 15 days.
We have time.
So there's a lot to go through. We'll start first of all with Pentecost. Okay. So we had the service, obviously, with Bishop Themistoklis. That was one of the biggest services I've seen in Sierra Leone. This is at Tower Hill at the church there. The large part of the congregation is made up of our Zinc House Kids, as we call them, plus their mothers were there as well. Now there was one scene of 4 ladies, Adama, Isata, Fatu and Aminata, walking to the church. Mm-hmm. Now the names say a lot about these 4 women,
yes,
about their religion. Yet when we were kneeling down for the service, they were kneeling down with us. They were respecting our religion to that extent that they would kneel down with us. They also know our prayers. They also know our hymns. So it's the community there, the Muslim and Christian community there, they live so well together, which is lacking obviously
everywhere else
in other places.
In the world, yes.
In other places. Okay, so that's Pentecost. Now, we're on to now we had 2 naming ceremonies. So we went there to meet some of the newborn babies. There's Angeliki, 7-month-old Angeliki, so she had a naming ceremony, which was an Orthodox Christian naming ceremony. There were a lot of things, I've never seen this before, I don't know if we have it in England, but the priest there would offer her, each person would come and offer something. There was salt, they put a bit of salt on her lips, then some sugar, some olive oil for anointing, some bread, some water. So all these were symbolic. So each person would come up and offer something to Angeliki. Then we had the newest baby, Nikitas.
Okay.
It's a name which we all know here. When he was born, he's now 3 weeks old. When he was born, they said, what should we call the baby? I said, well, we have a list of names. So I gave them actually both Christian names and also Muslim names. So I didn't know which way they're going to go for their religion. Out of the list, they chose Nikitas, which was
random,
which was perfect for us, because we have our Archbishop Nikitas here. So we went to his naming ceremony. His naming ceremony was a Muslim naming ceremony, and it was much the same as the Orthodox one, except they didn't have the salt and the sugar and what have you. So he had his naming ceremony. At the end, all the families offered money to, first of all, to the guy who did the ceremony, and then to the mother. Right. So they gave her money. I gave money. Everyone was offering her money. So that was Nikitas. Now, the next day, Nikitas became Orthodox. Right. So from Muslim naming ceremony, the next day he became Orthodox at a mass baptism. Okay. Originally, we were going to have Angeliki and Thomas Andreas, 2 children, 7-month-old each, who were going to be baptized in the baptismal font which we sent. So that was the original plan. And then we discussed it with the bishop, and they said, well, why don't we get the catechumens to also have a baptism together? That was another 50. And then he said, and then on the day before, it went to 50 to 93. And then on the day of the baptism, there were 153 children. Amazing. And that was on the Monday following Pentecost. Because there were so many, and they had to use the walk-in form. We couldn't use the baptismal form that we purchased. Fair enough. So that would be used on another day. But that was an amazing thing. We had, right, from our children, Angeliki, who was baptized. She was 7 months old. Thomas Andreas was baptized. We had baby Nikitas, who was 15 days old at the time. His brother Santos, who became Daniel, he was baptized. And then we had Emilia and Eleanor. That was a mother, daughter and a mother. But the biggest shock, or the biggest surprise, was one boy called Abubakar. Back in 2021, when I was at the mission in December, those Vespers on a Tuesday, and I looked behind me, and then 7 of the Zinc House Kids walked in, and they all sat behind me. And I was shocked. I was quite emotional when I saw them all entering the church. 5 of them went on to become Orthodox the following year.
Right.
There were set of 3 siblings and set of 2 siblings. And then the year after that, their friends and more of their relatives also became Orthodox, except this one boy, Abubakar. But Abubakar, since 2021, he's attended all the services on Sunday, all the Saturday night Vespers. He knows all the hymns. He knows all the prayers. And at the end of church, he tidies up. Yeah,
wow.
He's Muslim.
How old is he? How old is
he's 11 years old. And then during the baptism, I didn't even realise he was being baptised. He didn't go shouting it from the rooftop. He just very humble boy. He became Orthodox. His name is now Nectarios. She has a very good name. Yeah. So yeah, that was the biggest surprise, biggest shock, but the most beautiful moment. But whether he's Abubakar or Nectarios, we love him just the same. So that was our big shock for the baptism.
So on the naming ceremony, if they picked a Muslim name and then they became Orthodox, they'd have to pick obviously an Orthodox name.
That's right.
To get baptized.
Yeah. For Nikitas, he had several names.
Right.
But obviously for his baptism was Nikitas.
Yeah.
So that was I mean, he was beautiful.
Good story.
Beautiful boy as well. Now, after the baptism, actually before we talk about the baptism, I'm going to talk about some of the things we sent. So there's a nursery called Little Leo's in New Southgate. Now they gave me bags of clothes, but also this rug for the nursery where children can sit on and have a story read. Now just by chance, when we arrived, a massive delivery arrived from the UK when we were there, so we got to witness it.
Right.
So we got to see that the rug arrive, and we gave it to the nursery.
Right.
We also had 4 suitcases of clothes for the Zinc House Kids,
right.
which we took up to the Zinc Houses. And we had a lady called Dimitra who was there at the mission as well at the same time as us. Went to the Zinc House Kids, and usually there's a lot of screaming and shouting. We want. There's grabbing. They were so well behaved, the kids. They lined up according to height. We opened the first suitcase. We looked at the size. Okay, that's
matched them. Yeah.
That's Mary's size. That's for Sordelios, and we did it this way. And then at one point, I said to one of the women there, "Can you please that helps us?" And I said, "Look, can you please explain that? No one's allowed to grab from the suitcases." And she's telling the kids, "Please don't grab." I said, "No. Tell the mums." Because it's the mums who were grabbing from the suitcase. So the kids were so well behaved, but the mums were the ones who were grabbing. Yeah. So we bought lots of clothes for them there from the UK. These are all donations. Lots of stuff from Dover Brooks again, hence the Dover Brooks mug.
Very nice.
They've given us boxes and boxes of school uniforms, also just the general clothing that the students have. So we had the 4 suitcases, and amongst them also there was rainproof gear. Which was invaluable, especially this.
When's the rainy season?
It starts in May. June gets heavier. By August, it's torrential. And
so you were there in the rainy season.
In the rain, yeah. It was.
And was it raining?
It was raining. And when it rains, it's not like in the UK. You grab an umbrella, jump in your car, get on a bus.
Torrential.
And the roads become slush. You can't even walk through the roads. Then you have all the floods. Then you have the rain falling through the zinc.
Is that when diseases come as well, like malaria?
You get the extra diseases. You get malnutrition because people can't go and buy their food, and the women can't sell on the streets either. Another thing is fires. 2 reasons. One, dodgy wiring, and the rain gets onto the wiring.
Oh yes.
And then the second one is cooking indoors with charcoal. And then one spark from that will cause a fire in the zinc houses. Yeah. So we'll talk more about the fires as well towards the end. Now we also had a whole lot of things for the clinic. We had the usual medicine and what have you, but we had face visors, we had masks, we had gloves donated
for the health professionals.
For the nurse and the health professional there, and they can use it when they go around. And that was donated by a company called Precious Souls in Potter's Bar. They also gave us boots for myself and I'm pointing next to it, so I'm just sitting next to us.
Very good. Alex.
So we had the boots as well, which were invaluable, especially when you're walking through all this rain. And I was wearing my shorts and my big Dunlop boots, and I said to someone, "Do I look like a crazy white person, or do I look like an intelligent man in the boots?" I said, because in England, if you walk down the high road wearing shorts and boots, people will point at you and he goes, you know, you look like an intelligent white man.
Okay,
so
nice.
I was fine. I was
nice.
I was reassured. So so we had all that coming. The barbering equipment as well arrived. So we managed to give out the shaving, the shears, which came from Goodfellas in Waltham Cross and Gentle Southgate, two barbers that we know. So that was invaluable, because now these people, they have a profession, they have a job. It's especially one of the boys in the zinc houses. You know, he can earn enough to feed his family just from simple haircuts. Okay. Now, before I left, there's a guy in Lordship Lane in Wood Green. He's from Tech Surgery. His name is I'm reading his name because I don't want to get it wrong. Sabawun Habibi. All right. He's from Afghanistan. He's opened up his business, Tech Surgery. He actually gave me 20% off on some of the mobile phones I want to take with me.
Good.
So that 20% saved a lot of money that obviously we could then give to the zinc houses. So that big thank you to him.
Good.
That was a really good gesture on his part. Now we took a full drum kit. So a drum kit arrived when we arrived. So you had the big drum where you press the pedal. You had the 4 drums around, and they're still undecided where they're going to go. They'll either go to the music school at Waterloo, where they have an orphanage, or I suggested that they keep them in Tower Hill, which is the hub of the mission, where they have their headquarters. They have their big services there, and that's where the bishop sits as well. So they'll be able to play these drums, make as much noise as they want, because they like making noise to wake up God sometimes, and to just say, look, we're here. But also another reason for the noise is to let the other churches know, look, we can make more noise than you, which is how it goes.
Competition.
Yes, how
they
it
could
goes.
also reintroduce it into the Byzantine chanting, because originally there were instruments as well, so it could keep the timing of the chanters moving. Yeah,
they would do really well with that, actually. Really well.
Good. Yeah.
Now also we had school tables arrive from the UK, so there were 10 square tables. There were 7 long tables, which will go, I think they're going to the school in Crewe Bay. So they arrived when we were there. Now, there was a lot of problem with the delivery, with the ship was delayed, and everything was meant to arrive before we came, but it arrived a few days later. But Leon Freight were making phone calls left, right and centre to sort this out for us, and thankfully we got everything on time. Also the barbecue, the big four arrived from Archway Metalworks. Yeah. Okay, so that was that. Now,
did you use it?
We did, honestly, it was the best day ever. And they've never had charcoal chicken, charcoal prawns on the barbecue. Now we had 3 parties whilst we were there. The first one was Property Vine. We'll call it Property Vine Party. They sponsored it. There were 300 children. 300 children, just slightly under, but 300 children. They sang us songs. They wrote songs for us. There were speeches. There was music, and there was lots and lots of food. Now these children don't see a plate of food the way they saw it. There was so much food there for them.
Where did the food come from?
We had the women there did all the cooking, sourced the food and cooked it for us, and they gave out soft drinks as well.
Beautiful.
And also Dover Brooks again, Dover Brooks mug, Dover Brooks. We sent a whole lot of their uniforms there. Right. Now the boys there found the sports gear, and they formed a football team.
Amazing.
Named
Saint Pantaleon.
No, Alex FC.
Oh no.
So we have an Alex FC there, and they sang a song to me, and everything. It was beautiful.
And you're the chairman.
So I'm
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so they got that, and then the Zinc House Kids at Tower Hill, they heard that there's a name called Alex FC, a team called Alex FC.
So they formed one as well.
Alexios FC, and another one Alexandra FC. So there are now three. You're
going to start a league.
Yeah, definitely. Well, definitely. So that's one of the parties. That was Godridge Village. Now we also had the Zinc House Kids party. Usually we have it at the beach. Now the problem with that this year, it was raining. We had the rainy season, but we've got so many toddlers. It was far too dangerous. So we asked the bishop for his blessing. We had it at the church hall. Right. We had around about 100 children, adults. It was on Father's Day, so it was quite an emotional day for me having all these children there. I gave a
These
very...
are big numbers, though,
Yeah.
of, you know, people coming together.
Yeah. And Father Sordilio's brought some more people to the party as well. So there was a lot of people. They all had something to eat.
Yeah.
They had a lot of food,
Yeah.
a lot of drinks, and at the end of it, they all tied it up as well. Which was
takeaway bags as well. Any
leftovers? Oh, there was no leftovers.
No leftovers.
You don't get leftovers.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Sierra Leone.
Eat it all up.
Yeah. And then the last party was it's the Archway Metalworks barbecue.
Right.
This came after the mass baptism. Now there's a few people in the UK donated money towards the baptism, so that money went towards the food there. We fed 200 people. It was just chicken drumsticks on the thing. There was, at the end, we also had shrimps as well. There was soft drinks for everyone, and the women were there from 2 p.m. They finally left at 7 p.m. They were cooking constantly. There's also a guy from Greece, Haris, who came with his wife Martina to adopt a child. They came as well. Wow! And they came and he was there at the football cooking away, doing his bit as well. And I said to him at one point, I said, "You see how easy it is to give something back? Just standing and doing that."
Yeah,
he said, "But I'm just doing a bottle." I said, "But that's a lot for them to see you there and helping as well." So we had him and some of the mums from the Zinc houses helping. They did a great job of cooking everything. Really did.
So where's the Fugul staying?
Yeah, the mission is in Deaconess Mary's apartment.
So I'm sure they're going to use it regularly now.
We said when they have feast days to let us know, and we'll send the money to buy the food, and then also the charcoal, and we'll be sponsoring.
Have they got a motor to turn around?
There's the motor, there's the work, but they use the grill bit but they got that for the zmila, those giant ones for suvla.
Yeah.
So that's something to teach them as well. Yeah. So that was that party.
Brilliant.
Now we also went to a place called Takogama. Now, Takogama Chimpanzee Sanctuary is located in the rainforest. We mentioned this last show, and it was started by a guy called Bala. So we took for him this big bag of, first of all, industrial electrical cables, because there's a lot of machinery there. We took a portable shower unit, a rechargeable shower unit for the people who work there.
Not for the chimpanzees?
Well, actually, I said, can you use it on the chimpanzees to see what happens? But I don't think they will do. But if they could do that, that'd be
just
fabulous.
Use natural rain, I guess.
Well, there's a video of this giant chimpanzee just sitting in the rain like this on a pole, and the rain's just hitting him, and he's just enjoying it. Yeah. But the best thing was the filters. We sent these water purifiers. They're the size of your mobile phone, about that big. Straw that end. So you put it into the water and you drink the water. It purifies it.
Wow.
So their rangers who go out for days on end will take them with them and use those as well. So that is a great donation. And I explained to Bala that I said, I didn't ask you what you need, because if you tell me something I can't do, then you might feel disappointed, and I might feel a bit upset that I can't help you. So I prefer to see where the problems are, and then
figure it
that way. Yeah, that's the way we work. Now, also, there was a young lady called Zoe McIntyre. Now, whilst I was sitting with Alexandra having our breakfast, and then this lady walks past, and I said, "Excuse me, sorry, I wonder, where are you from?" I heard her speaking with an English accent. She goes, "From Oxford." I said, "Well, you might have something in common with Alexandra, who works in Oxford." She happens to be an ex-student of Dover Brooks. There's a Dover Brooks mug again. Who studied at Dover Brooks. She went on to veterinary medicine, and she's now the vet at Takogama.
Amazing.
She's done her almost a year now. She's going to do a further year. So that was Zoe McIntyre.
Small world.
Great ambassador as well for Dover Brooks, of all for the students there. And she's just loving her time there. She really is. And same as me, she's full of bites, full of mosquito bites. We can't get away.
So these people that go there, right? Do they go there for 2 years, 1 year, or indefinite?
Well, she went there. She went there as an intern to work with a vet in Freetown.
Right.
And then she discovered Takogama. So she's meant to do 1 year.
Yeah.
But she wants to now do a further year because she's enjoying herself so much. And you must learn so much when you're stuck in that position.
Yeah.
You know, and the resources are growing and growing at Takogama. They've got a centre there for people come for research.
Amazing.
They've got the vets. I mean, they've got the works there for the chimpanzees.
Pretty good. Yep.
They also help for conservation. They help teach people about the rainforest, not to chop down trees and the effects that has on the environment. So they do so much there. We also had meetings with Bishop Femi. Now, we've discussed our charity, which is still being set up, the Zinc House Kids, and what we've come up with is, first of all, we've opened a bank account in Sierra Leone at the mission. It's called the Zinc House Kids. So we can now send money directly to the bank account for medicine and for support, rather than going different ways. It goes directly to the bank account. Also, when we send clothes and medicine and food, it'll go to the mission, where one of the girls that supports us, Georgia, in fact, Georgia and her sister Nectaria, they'll be the ones in charge of distribution. Right. So arrive at the mission, and then they send it off to the Zinc House Kids. Because in the past, Deaconess Mary's got so much to do. Things have stayed in her room for months on end. Ages, yeah. But we can't afford that, especially once when we sent a wheelchair. It took 2-3 months before the woman received the wheelchair. So that's gonna fine tune that process as well. So we were very happy with that. Also, whilst there, we paid for 2 weeks worth of malaria test kits for children, which they don't hold at the clinic at the mission. They hold for adults, not for children.
We have a specific location that we call Zinc House, which sometimes we prioritize because of their situations, their welfare and all other things, and even where they are dwelling, they mostly sometimes fall ill. So one of our able helpers, charitable man, Mr. Alex, was around one of these days that helped us with this malaria test kits.
So it cost about £200, £200 we paid for 2 months worth of test kits. Today alone, I had a call from the mission. 5 of our Zinc House Kids had malaria and typhoid, so I sent money for that. That was £360.
So what's the treatment for that? Tablets?
It's tablets, various medications. Because along with malaria and typhoid, there's cold-like symptoms, so you have the standard things as well. Yeah. So we paid for 5 of our children. These are our Zinc House Kids, which we said we will pay for. That was £360 for their medicine, 3-day course. But along with them, another 10 children arrived from Crew Bay. It's in the slum area. Now there's a school there that the mission built. They received prescriptions, but there was no one to pay for their medicines. They have to find the money themselves. Right. It's a lot of money. 2,000 in their money is a couple of months' wages for people. So they have to find their own, sadly, because we can't support everyone. But the malaria test kits that we sent, we allow for other people to use as well, not just the Zinc House Kids. Good. Also, whilst we were there, we paid for medication, we paid for summer school for one of the girls, we paid for food. So it's not just when we leave or before, whilst we're there, we're constantly trying to help as well. Now, on to the movie night. Yeah. A bit of fun stuff now, James. They love Mr. Bean. I gave them a choice.
That's worldwide, that is.
So we said that it's the quietest, the best behaved they are there is when they're watching the movies. Is it night time? I have this mini projector. We're going by a white sheet, put it on the wall. It's wonky, but they don't care. And they just sat there laughing their heads off at Mr. Bean. We watched 3 episodes, and they wanted more. And the little ones were falling asleep, so we had to obviously stop. And then because of the rain, we couldn't return there. So that was our movie night, which we do every single time we go. Now, there's some obviously sad news in that we lost young Andres last October. 5-year-old boy died of sepsis. We went to visit his grave. Now his grave was just a mound of earth. So I arranged with a guy that I knew, a carpenter, and he actually arranged for a cross.
Good.
So we fitted the cross before we left, and someone will paint his name onto it as well. And that was young Andres. Good.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, thanks, James. So that's something that we're involved in constantly. You know, even though we've lost him, we still go to.
It's full cycle from birth to death, from baptism to funerals.
Yeah. Now there was Toque Sands. Now Toque Sands is a beach resort where we go for an overnight stay just to relax. Really, get away from people in Freetown begging and the noise and the pollution and what have you. But whilst we were there was a group of guys who were helping one of the fishing boats, pulling the ropes and what have you. And then as they're walking along the beach, I had a football. So I held it up to them, and they started waving, so I threw it to them. I've never seen anyone so happy at receiving a football. And these boys just went off now to play football and grateful that they received this football. This was the same Bandalaimon football. So so they received that. Good. And then we walked up the beach, and there was a guy came. Usually people come and sell us coconuts. And he was trying to sell us cocoa. I was like, oh, look, we can get you lobster, we can get you this, get you that. I said, no, we're fine. He kept persisting with, you know, and I said, well, he goes, look, come and see my village. So I thought, all right, everyone's going to start begging for money here, because that's generally what happened. So I went to this village, Tokhe village. We met the elder. No one came begging. No one came asking for money. This guy told us about the history of Tokhe village, how during the Civil War, the president then, he escaped to Tokhe village, where he waited for speedboats to come and take him, and then the rebels came because he was there. They basically destroyed the hotels there and the area. And they said about the soldiers there, which we won't go into the soldiers, the young boys, because it is quite a sad story, very. So he told them, we went to the village where there was a community centre. It was just a shell of a building, but it's got a roof. Therefore, it's a community centre built by the elder. He paid for it. We saw where they're going to have a football pitch. It was just dirt. Do you remember Wilmot?
Yeah.
Well, that's what it was like.
Okay,
In these things, this is taking us back to our childhood now.
Yes.
So that's what it was like, and they had mounds of earth where they were going to spread over and put grass. So this is at the middle of a village, and they had proper roads, they had some decent houses, but it was a whole industry. You had the boats coming in with the fish, then they select the fish, then you take the scales off and you clean them, then you put them in the banders and the smoking rooms, you smoke them, then they take them to the town or the city and they sell them, and that's how it's done. A whole industry was in the actual village, and it was keeping the village alive through fishing. So that was Tokhe village. And I mentioned Haris and Martina, who are adopting little Angelina. They're from Greece, so they come from Greece, and they found a child they want to adopt. There's also another couple adopting.
How did they hear about the mission?
They didn't come through the mission. They came separately to the mission.
Just on their own.
They just
interest.
They just researched it and found, because a lot of countries in Africa are closing the borders for adoption. You can't adopt from a lot of these countries
about
now.
Trafficking or something. Maybe.
Trafficking, probably the main reason. So they found themselves a beautiful little girl, Angelina. They'll be taking her to Greece, but the process it just takes time. There's another couple as well adopting a child, and there was a lady at the mission who's from Greece, from Athens, who's adopting 2 babies, an 8-month-old and a 1-year-old. So she's staying there for 6 months as part of her process, and the fact she's staying for 6 months, it makes it easier for her to adopt the children. But she's still got all the court cases. You've got to go to court constantly, you've got to fill in forms, and it's a constant process. And then some people will object to it, and then it's heartbreaking when you think, oh, am I going to lose this child I've just had for 3 months? So it's quite a long process there. So I wish her well, actually. Now the final bit is the day before we left. I'm just trying to see the time. The day before we left, there was a big fire at the zinc houses. I read about the fires. I saw videos of the fires previously. I saw photos, and then all of a sudden we experienced it. We were at the mission. There was a fire alarm going off at the fire station next to us. The fire truck is zooming up the hill, and Alexandra and the image were saying, "Oh, it's coming from behind the zinc houses, beyond." And I said, "No, that's the zinc houses."
It is the zinc houses.
It was the zinc. So I went running up the hill. I haven't run for a long time. When you're running up a hill and you're so worried and so scared, and I went in there and they were on fire.
Wow.
There was a group of houses in the middle. So really, it's just
what caused
a traumatic thing. A wire, a cable.
Cables.
There was a cable at the back that caused the spark, caused the fire. So the central houses all started burning. One of the houses was a young girl. I mean, she's 20 years old, Emma, who has 2 children, baby Nikitas and Daniel. Thankfully, everyone was safe, and
the fire service get there.
They got there to put the fire out, but everything had burnt before they arrived. So
there's not a lot to burn down, is there? I mean, it's just a shack.
It's just that and all the clothes they own. But she also had all the money from the everything has burned. But thankfully, her I think it was her sister or her cousin said, "Look, why don't we leave baby Nikitas outside, because we bought them a travel car. Let him sleep outside tonight, because it'd be cooler for him. He'd have been inside otherwise." So that
saved.
So I said, we can replace the zinc, we can replace the wood, the frames, we can replace the clothes. We can't replace the babies.
How do you avoid that in future? I mean, what's the the way that they could?
It's a difficult one because of circumstances. They have to live the way they live. But what we're trying to find is a plot of land for them where they can build Zinc House spaced out. Hopefully get them proper electricity. Wires cables that aren't going to spark when there's rain. And that's one of the solutions.
Fireproof materials, maybe.
That's very difficult.
Takes an effort.
So the next morning we were leaving for the UK. So thankfully I had about 5-6 boxes of clothes left. We took the clothes up to them. We took a massive box of food for them. Good. So we did our bit to help as well.
It was a nice way to finish.
It was definitely. But it was and we were all quite numb from the entire experience. So it wasn't our usual goodbye. We just walked away and left them to it.
Well, they've got to get on with life. And they do.
And they do, of course.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex. That's been an amazing journey. Was it 2 weeks you were there?
2 weeks in a day. Yeah, 2 weeks in a day.
How often do you go? Every couple of years, or
every year?
Every year.
COVID stopped it, but every year we're there. Yeah.
Good, fantastic. Okay. Thank you, viewers, for listening. That was a great walkthrough. Good luck in your mission, and keep the donations coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James.
Bye, viewers. Bye.
This is where Emma lived, and baby Nikitas. It's sad, it's sad. It's 2024. And people live like this. Babies are born. They're born into this life, they have no choice. This is where they live.